When Rogue One came out, I didn't really think much of it, but after Andor, it's a whole different movie. Welcome back, everyone. We are here today to talk about Rogue One. That's right, I recently rewatched it with all of my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you to everyone that is subscribed to me over there, by the way. And if you ever want to join a movie watch along with us, please do check that out over there. This month we are doing James Bond, so I'll have a James Bond review for you coming up, and the poll, I believe, is still open to decide which movie we are going to watch this month if you want to check that out. But let's talk about Rogue One, because now that I finished Andor, just what will change watching Rogue One? But before we get into that, I want to know, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? And why do you love it? Why do you think it works? The interesting thing with Rogue One is I feel that it is a really great movie just by itself. Even if you don't have the context of Andor, I think this was a pretty good film. But with the context of Andor, it goes from being pretty good to absolutely great. Everything that you see has so much more weight behind it. But before we get into the effects of Andor on this, I want to start off by highlighting some things that I don't think I appreciated as much as I went through the first time that I watched Rogue One. And one of those things is the music. Can we just talk about the music in this movie for a minute? Because it is a vibe. The music here really helps to set the tone for where we are. And it does feel a little bit like Michael Giacchino is doing John Williams a little bit at times, but I also feel that Michael Giacchino is one of these composers that he can just give you a soundtrack that fits almost anything. He's very good at wearing different tones when it comes to the music that he's creating for these movies. If you look at his resume, he's got a wild collection of films, and all of them have great music, and Rogue One is no exception. So while at times it does feel a little bit like we're trying to put on a John Williams cosplay, we also successfully are carried through some of these really big emotional scenes and these really big action scenes. I mean, we're dealing with planetary destruction in Rogue One. We are dealing with the Death Star and finding a way to actually take that out. The stakes for this film are very high, and the action is massive. And the thing that I like about Rogue One is that it's not really as much always about the scenes and what's happening in them for the action, but more how those scenes impact the characters. I've said this before when I've talked about action movies, and I'm going to say it again here. The reason why action works so well in some films and so poorly in other films is because when you are telling a story, it's not just about big thing go boom. It's about, what does that mean to the characters that are there? What are we fighting for in this moment? And the intentions of all of these characters are so clear. And it's not about necessarily always when the action is happening. It's about the fallout of the action. It's about the aftermath. It's about people going in knowing they're not going to come out. But going back through Andor, I've realized that at the beginning of that show, Cassian isn't in a place where he's going into something knowing I might not come out of this. Everything feels really dangerous. Everything feels like it's massive, but the scale is much smaller. And with Rogue One, you've watched all of Andor ramp up to the point that now we're here in the film. And then we climbed up to the movie. And with Rogue One, we went as big as possible. And then with Andor, you watch that progression. So what that means is when you go back to watch the film, the stakes are just that much higher. So going back to Rogue One with the context of everything you've seen in Andor, it is going to hit you even harder. And I didn't think that I would cry again. You know, I've shed my tears for Cassian. I've watched all of Andor season 1 and 2. And I thought, you know, even Jyn, I thought I already know what happens in this, so we'll see how well it hits. But it's not just about these two characters. We got a whole cast here who's laying their lives on the line. Characters like Saw Gerrera. If you've watched Andor, you've seen that character's journey. And now to see him here, I mean, it's just so tragic. And the other thing is that I didn't really fully appreciate how good the acting in Rogue One is until I had watched Andor. And coming back into it now, I can see why they said, we're gonna make an Andor show. Because Diego Luna is just that good. He can carry his own series. And honestly, Felicity Jones as well as Jyn, I really loved her character in this. I loved Jyn more than I loved Andor the first time that I watched Rogue One. And it was interesting how after watching it this time, I was like, wow, I really love Andor though. And then it made me even more sad because of everything that I know happens. And it's not just those characters. It's not just Saw Gerrera. I mean, so many of the people that that you're familiar with through Andor are in this, and you're getting the end of their stories. Orson Krennic is a character that it felt so good to see what happens to him in Rogue One, because after watching 2 seasons, I'm like, yeah, dang right, that's what's gonna happen to that guy. That guy sucks. And it just feels like the best payoff ever. There's also a moment in this that called back to an earlier time in Cassian's life, when I think back to the earlier season of Andor and hearing him and Jyn get in this argument where Jyn is saying, why should I care about any of this? I don't want to be involved in this stuff that you guys are pulling me into. And Cassian's like, you don't have a choice. You're in it, and this isn't just you, this is everybody. And if you don't do this, if you don't get involved now, you can run, but this will never stop, and it will never stop coming for you. You will never be able to be free of it. That's the thing with the rebellion, is you don't really have a choice. You kind of have to rebel, because the other choice is just, we all lose if we don't, a few of us get together here and strike out on our own. And it's pretty crazy to see Cassian having that argument, considering where he starts off in Andor. This is really the culmination of his character evolution, but you don't really know that at the time that you're watching Rogue One, because you're already seeing him at a point where he's been through everything. But when you have the added context of knowing what that everything is, man, does it hit really hard. We also have Mads Mikkelsen in this as Galen Erso, Jin's father, and I think he's amazing in it. I mean, Mads is really great because I feel that every film that he is in, he fully commits. He is giving you 150%. It doesn't matter what you're asking him to do. If he's doing it, he is fully committed. The acting is just that good in this movie, and like I said, it goes across the spectrum. It's not just about our main characters, it's also about the supporting cast, and some of these characters don't even get that much to do, but everyone that's here is fully committed to the story and to their character. And I had an even deeper appreciation for everything that we got to see Donnie Yen doing in this. He's just so amazing, and that idea of this belief in the Force and how our faith in things is really what gives them power. I just thought even the way that we're exploring the Force in this film is really cool. So across the spectrum of Star Wars, we're touching on so many elements: the light versus the dark, the rebellion, the Force, and we're just nailing every concept that we come up against. Now, granted, not everything works amazingly well. I still have some criticisms. Some characters, what are we doing? Darth Vader, I'm looking at you. What is up with Darth Vader's costume in Rogue One? Where did we get this costume from? Because it looks like it's from Spirit Halloween and they had to get it the day of the shoot. So they just ran out and bought something quick and threw it on him and went, good enough. The other thing that's still weird for me, other than Darth Vader, is bringing people back from the dead. Using people's likeness after they're gone feels a little weird. It also doesn't always look great. Moff Tarkin actually looks pretty good in this, I think, but that's mainly because he's in shadows more. He's in a darker setting. But when we see what they did to try to put Carrie Fisher's face on her daughter's body near the end to give us a young Princess Leia, I feel like that looks pretty weird in retrospect. And it's kind of wild because at the time when I first watched this in theaters, I remember thinking that looked pretty dang good. And I know Carrie Fisher was happy with it, so I mean, if she was fine with the whole having a younger version of her with her likeness, like using her daughter as the body model, then I feel like who am I to really complain? But I will say, I just don't think we needed it. Like, you could have just had the outline of Princess Leia. You have her in the white, you have her with the buns. Like, we don't really need to see her face. You could just have the side of her and hear her voice, and I feel that would have been good enough. So that's the weird thing that we did in Rogue One that I don't think has aged great. But everything else in this feels really powerful. And if you watch all of Andor and then you go back and you watch Rogue One, just be prepared. Just get the tissues ready, because it hits even harder. And it really elevated this entire movie watching experience for me. So I would definitely recommend it. And if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Andor as I'm going through, I'm going to be doing reviews every 3 batches of episodes, basically like every act. So I need to watch 2 more. I watched the first one. I need to watch 2 more. And then I will be back to do a review on the first part, Act 1 of Season 1 of Andor. So if that's the thing you're interested in, make sure you click that subscribe. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. Let me know your thoughts on Rogue One, especially if you've gone back recently, especially if you've gone back and you've watched Andor, or even if you haven't. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this movie and your experiences with it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you think works? What doesn't work? And how do you feel Andor adds to, or perhaps even for some people takes away from this film experience? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'll see you down there, and until next time, friends, as always, stay nerdy. Bye! And if you love when I talk Star Wars, you need to check this out.